Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the burner account. We got a lot to get into, so we'll jump right on into it. Our first topic, and I'm interested to see what you guys have to say on this, man, because we do have some step parents here
Guys
in the
and
chat.
gals, guys and gals.
Oh, we're all inclusive now. Now we're being politically correct. Okay.
Yes, you have to give the whatever those things are, the his and
Pronouns. The
yeah,
pronouns.
So the
he and
one
him,
the
she and
one that
her.
ain't PC is now HR.
Exactly.
What's going on?
Now there's a problem. He's trying to put his best foot forward because he does have family joining us tonight for this topic.
Yeah,
So before we
he
do
and
get,
him.
officially into it, we do have T's sister Shamika joining us tonight for this.
Sherm.
So thank you so much.
Hey,
I'm not gonna go that far, but whatever.
Big Sherm?
So the
Big, I
first
don't give a
topic
damn. All right, all right,
that
all
we're,
right.
that we're gonna get into is a it can be pretty sensitive, and the question is, should a step parent be allowed to discipline their partner's kids, whether it's a stepmom, stepdad, whatever? Should they be allowed to discipline a child? If you say yes, why do you lean that way? If you say no, why do you lean that way? And since you are our guest, we will start with you, Shamika.
yes, sir. I say yes. I say step parents should be able to discipline their kids. All discipline does not have to be physical. So I believe if you are with the parent, if I'm a mom, I was with my ex which made me a step parent. I I had no problem with disciplining my stepdaughter. I still have no problem. I don't even call her my stepdaughter. She's just my daughter. We didn't have those issues, so it wasn't a thing not to be able to discipline her with her being the only child. And again, it wasn't a physical thing of discipline her, but it was again taking away electronic or TV time or whatever the case may have been. But she definitely gets disciplined.
Kind of like setting the ground rules, basically.
Everything for her like a parent. Oh yeah,
Hmm.
I have a say so.
Now, not to get too personal, but I know that you kind of mentioned that you basically raised your stepdaughter, correct?
Yeah, correct. And she's in the car too, so she can hear you. So yeah,
So she hearing mama just put her on blast. But
yeah,
let
she
me ask you this, because I
mhm.
think it's pretty important though, and I'll ask you how important you think it might be, and this goes for everybody as well, Jay and Trill. Um, does it maybe matter when you come into that child's life? Like, let's say
No,
newborn to 2 or 3, as opposed to child maybe 14, 15, 16, and then
uh-uh,
you're coming in at that point.
not at all. Not at
I
all.
think the dynamic of how you discipline will be different, but I think at the end of the day, it still should be some form of discipline. Should be allowed.
I mean, yeah. And just to, context around this conversation stems from a video that we saw, um, where this young lady went to her baby daddy's house where he lived with his wife, um,
Hmm.
and the wife disciplined their child as the father gave her approval to do so. She
Right.
had the baby mom had an issue with that, and she was, cussing and fussing outside the front door. And he was like, call me the next time you need to talk about something like this. Don't just show up at my house.
Right.
And you know,
What was the discipline though?
we didn't get to that point. All it
Okay.
was you don't have uh you're not allowed to discipline my daughter. Like, this is my daughter, this ain't your daughter. Now,
Hmm.
I'm
That to
young, but
me screams like it was physical discipline.
I
Like,
mean,
Physical.
it probably was. It was probably a belt or a
yeah,
spanking, but you know, a disrespectful 6-year-old. Come on now.
Right.
Now, like I said, I'm young, but I come from the old school. The
Right.
community raised
Raised us.
us.
Right.
You know, it wasn't a lot of that's my child, don't touch my child with the neighbors or with other family members. It was,
Even
if
the
he get
school
out of
system.
line, nah, I ain't get that. I ain't that old.
I mean, they paddled back in the school system. Don't do
Yeah, I
that.
know.
yeah.
I know. I came
So
in. I came in at the
yeah,
end of that era, but
and you should have came before because you
You
needed
needed
it.
it, bro. You the
I
worst
mean,
one.
bruh,
I didn't
real,
need it. I didn't need it
still
at
need it.
all, because
Shit. Okay.
I had a. I
Let
mean,
you tell it.
the difference today is that I actually had a fear of my mama. Like, I had a fear that
Right,
her
absolutely.
favorite phrase was, "I brought you here and I'll take you out." And I
And
actually
meant it.
Take you
believed
out.
that that was something that she would do until I
Absolutely
got to a
meant it.
certain age. Um, but to answer the question, hell nah, it don't. There's not a. It ain't a. There's not a time. There's not there's not any way that I'm gonna be in a relationship with you and vice versa, and one of us have kids and you don't have the authority to get on my kid ass, or I don't have the authority to get on yours, regardless of
Right,
what age. I don't give a damn if they 27. If they under my roof, you're gonna abide by my rules. Point blank,
right,
period. Um, I mean, like I said, I come from the old school, man. And with my 2-year-old, I already told y'all I'll be more upset at y'all for y'all calling me, telling me that she being bad. You know, once she gets to a certain age, if y'all watching her, if it's like a sleepover with the girls or something, and you like, well, she being bad, uh, but I didn't do anything. I'm gonna be like, bro, why you didn't whoop her ass? Why you didn't put her in timeout? Like, why you didn't do something? Don't, like, I don't just let her be bad. So why are you letting her
right.
be bad?
Hey, we
So
spoiling
But I
that baby.
also
That's
think
all
it's
that
going
is.
to go. It's also going to go with the comfort level of the person that's with that kid as well.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, yeah, it's gonna be, you know, I think that I think once you get to a certain age, so like hypothetically, if you are, let's just say the child is 6 or 7, and they're going to the father's house because the moms primarily have custody. So you going to visit dad. Dad has a new wife, fiance, girlfriend. Now, if it's girlfriend, that's something totally different. Like, you have to be in a role of, like, you possibly gonna be here for a while. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not
Right.
finna be first year, second year girlfriend thinking you about to be whooping on somebody else's kid.
No, you
Nah,
definitely gotta have some time
yeah,
in
yeah.
for
Like,
sure.
but if you 6, 7 years old, you visiting dad, dad has a wife, or this is his fiance, and they've been a part of, you know, whatever this little dynamic is, fiance, wife, whatever, they get this child get out of line, you discipline your child. Like, you don't let
Right,
that shit slide. If you don't feel comfortable with a physical discipline, send their ass to timeout. That's why
right.
kids
And that's
growing
why
up
I say
just
I agree. Like discipline is several forms of discipline, and all of it doesn't have to be physical. It can be a timeout. It can be taking of electronics. It could be losing your privileges. It could be extra chores. Like there are so many different forms of it. So you have to find your comfort level within your family of what that's going to be.
But let me ask y'all a question, Joe. So once that child is in teenage years, what is the discipline at that point?
I
Go
mean,
ahead, Joe.
those are a child's, at least a boy's formative years. Like in my opinion, like once you hit about 13, 14, 15, like that's where you either you have them or you lose them around that time, because that's when you kind of see which path they're starting to take. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe it's not universal, but around that time, that's kind of when you have to really tighten up on them and make sure that they're going the right way, the way they need to go. I don't necessarily think once they're in their teenage years, you need to be putting hands on them. Like my youngest kids are they're about to be 14. I ain't whooped my kids in 3 years.
Hey
But
man.
maybe I'm just blessed, bro, where I haven't had to get to that point. Now, on the flip side, just pulling back the curtain, I will admit, like my oldest son and I, we've had some heated words where I've been in his face with like had him like this by the shirt, like, hey, bro, like
Yeah.
you're gonna calm down, or we're gonna have some problems. But as far as like whooping the kids, nah, bro, especially girls. I really don't feel like, man, I haven't had to whoop my girls and I can't even remember the last time. But
Dad was
I don't think,
awesome.
yeah, I can definitely vouch for that. But I also feel like they've earned that right to have me go softer on them because they haven't pushed me. Now you ask my wife, and my wife will tell you, oh, these girls, they're showing their behinds. She says that about the girls, and I'll say that about the boys. And then on the flip side, I'll be
Boy.
like, "Man, you spoil those boys," and she's like, "You spoil these girls." So
I mean, the Bible ain't sexist. It don't say like girls get a pass. It
Hell
says
no.
spoil the rod,
spare
spoil
the
the
rod,
child.
Spare the
So
spare
rod,
the
spoil the
rod.
child.
Spare the
uh,
rod,
What
beat the
about you,
chain.
Jay? Like, what if your ex said, "Okay, I got this new man in my life, and I know your son's older, right? Like he's the same age as my son, my oldest son." But like, how would you feel if it was like he was a little bit younger? Let's say 9, 10, 11, and she's like, "Oh, I found this guy, and we're gonna get married, whatever." And I feel like he should be allowed to discipline our son. What's your thoughts on that?
we had, we had the agreement of when we broke up that any of our significant others weren't gonna do that. That the discipline fell between her and I, and it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't about because y'all know how big I am and tall. I'm not gonna take kindly to my son coming to me at 6 or 7 and saying some other grown man beat the shit out of him. Well, then I'm gonna have to beat the shit out of you. So I mean, it's
But
just.
you going all the way. You going all the way to beat the shit out of him. What if it's,
I mean,
hey, he grounded me, or
look,
he took away my phone, whatever.
there
Yeah.
there's some. I'm just gonna say it like this. Some men, men go into a relationship, and if that
Damn,
child isn't
I almost
theirs,
got zapped.
if that
My
child
bad.
isn't theirs, they don't really care how they treat them. They don't care if they treat
Yeah,
them good, bad, whatever. Like, and then any little thing sets them off, and that's
yeah,
the majority of men. I'm just being honest. I'm not like that, but there's some men out there that don't give a crap about their stepchildren. You know what I mean? And
I think it goes both ways though. Like
I was just
there
say I
are like
think it goes both ways, but yeah, I agree.
and
there's a lot of people that are just like, well, that ain't my kid, that ain't my problem. I think
right.
that's shitty, and that to me that spells disaster on that whole relationship
I
because it's
don't.
like,
Well,
But
so,
you
so so I was engaged as well, but
okay,
we had that talk. My fiance and I, and she was like, "I'm not comfortable disciplining him. If he does something, I'm gonna wait. I'll call you at work or whatever, wherever you're at, and let you deal with it." And if you have to come home, you have to come home. And I was fine with that. I'm not, because I didn't want anything between my fiance and his mom. I'm not,
Sure.
I don't want conflict. I'm not trying to have baby mama drama, just like what just happened in the video. The video was, to me, it was the baby mama jealous, mad, and you could tell in the tone of her voice, she was still hurt that he's moved on, and probably she has, and it was more about somebody else is in his life than the
She's
child.
looking for a reason.
Right.
Yeah, and I'll find a way to put that up when we put this out, so y'all can, have a little context around what we're talking about.
And
But
it's just, I don't. First of all, if you come to my house and tell me how to run my house, we got an issue.
what?
Because I don't tell you how to discipline in your home. I don't tell you how to do anything in your home. So don't come to my home and tell me what needs to be done and what doesn't need to be done. Like that's no. Now you lost that privilege when we split up.
Right.
Right. Right.
So
I have
But
a
I think
question.
there's a lot of conversations on that. Yeah, go ahead.
So what is you and your significant other's conversation of comfort level? Maybe can she have a conversation with him? Like if he said something disrespectful back to her, is a conversation allowed to be had, or is that everything strictly on how you perceive the situation? Because if you're not there, it's always going to be three sides to the story. It's going to be his
right,
side, it's going to be her side, and it's going to be the truth is going to lie somewhere in between. So how does that take
um,
effect into like your relationship?
she. I mean, she was real. I don't want to say passive, but just like, she didn't want any. She didn't. She didn't want any conflict between him and her. She didn't want any conflict between um me and her over him.
yeah,
Right.
Sure.
She was real
Right.
protective, and it was
Okay.
like, I'm just gonna I'm gonna let you handle everything when it comes to discipline. And I mean,
Okay.
it was a lot on me because like I
Yeah.
worked a lot and
Absolutely.
I wasn't there, but I have a good kid, and majority of the time he stayed in his room. He wasn't like, he wasn't bad or anything like that. He stayed to himself. She cleaned, did whatever. He played video
Right.
games, and there was really no real conflict.
Okay.
So
And that goes to good parenting from the primary parents
yeah,
because you can absolutely raise good, mannerable, respectable kids. And I think I have. Like I've never had a problem with my kids going anywhere with their dads and their dad's significant others and having the issue because I feel like I raised good, mannerable kids. They said yes, ma'am. They said no, ma'am. They pretty much were easy kids. But, you do have the ones that are the problem kids is where, a lot of this conflict comes from. But I agree with what you said. I don't think it had anything to do with the kid. I think the baby mom was sounded more bitter.
yeah, yeah,
She was
for
being
sure.
petty.
Yeah, it was a more bitter thing. Maybe she's not over him. And sometimes you can think you're over and you see this situation and you're bitter. You just have a petty situation. Cuz driving
Yeah,
all the way to his house if it's his weekend, like, come on now.
I mean, because let's be real. If it was really a problem, well, I'm not recording. This ain't there ain't gonna be no evidence. As soon as you open that door, it's gonna be on. Soon as that unlock, click. Hey, we moving furniture, bro. It ain't there ain't no talking.
and nigga said we finna move mountains.
He did.
Yeah, man. I'm not opposed to the basically community ass whoopings. because
I mean,
it
my bad, T. My mom was the community mom, so I grew up
yeah
knowing that my mom was basically in lack of a better term, big mama for the block. She knew everything that happened on that block, and she knew everybody's mom. So she had carte blanche on if that person needs an ass whooping, she could do it.
yeah,
So
and that's what I'm saying. Like I'm not opposed to the community helping raise children, bro. But the thing is, in these times and in these days that we live in now, they not.
no,
We don't have that. There's no more help like it was back in the day, bro.
I'm gonna
Everybody just
call
it,
got
it,
pushed
it,
to
it
CPS on
went
you.
from
yeah,
it takes a village to mind your goddamn business.
Don't touch
yeah,
my child.
It did
That's what it
real
turned
quick,
to.
yeah,
real quick.
yeah. But that, I mean, you got to think about it, bro. The parents became younger, the grandparents became younger, and shit, the aunts and uncles, they damn near the same age as the children. So
And it
I
also
mean,
turned in
my daughter is an auntie, so and she's 7. So yeah, you
yeah,
have very well, very much so blended families. Like her nephew, she has a one no, she has a niece that's like 6 7 months.
mm,
So yeah, exactly.
and
yeah,
I mean
man.
it also turned into we're not like what did you do to my child to make him talk back to
No
you or
accountability on the child
yeah,
these
Yeah,
days.
yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
Right,
It's
right.
all on the adults now.
Or
Like,
that my
yeah,
child don't do that.
Yep.
That my
exactly.
mhm,
child didn't do
You
that.
a damn lie that you
boy.
saying your kids don't
Right,
do that because
Nah,
you
bro.
know
They
they're
they
doing that shit to you
people
at the
really be
house.
believing that
right.
shit. People really
Yeah,
They be
believe
talking
that they
back to
kids
you.
don't do shit. Like
Right.
they place all the blame on the adults, nigga. I mean, excuse me. The first thing I'm gonna say, what you do, what the kid do.
yeah,
Like that's
yep.
what
Yeah.
I'm asking. What did you do?
You know that's my line to Tynese all the time. Like,
Yeah, that's the
what did you
daughter.
do?
That's the youngest. Well, second from
The
youngest.
middle.
Yeah,
Right.
but
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's a big question that more people need to be asking is, well, what did you do? My kids come home and they're griping about how this teacher, whatever. Teachers already just overwhelmed with with the whole pandemic thing that happened, and then kids showing their ass at school like they don't have no home training. But the kids, my kids will say, "Oh, this teacher, da 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 da." Well, what did you do? Who,
nothing,
Oh, and
nothing.
let them tell me, oh, I didn't do nothing. They just da da da. I'll call the teacher.
Right.
We'll get the full
Boy.
story of what's going on. Do I need to call
hmm
the teacher, or are you gonna tell me? Well, it's because I blah 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 whatever. Okay, then you got what you deserve. Like
Man,
You pay,
gotta take your
but a
it ain't
medicine.
lot of these
everybody else's
kids,
fault.
a lot of these parents lack accountability, so they don't know how to give it to the kids.
Yep.
Exactly. There's a lot of what we call it in my house is like a lot of victims mentality. Like,
Mm.
oh well, here's an excuse, they're a victim. Here's an excuse, they're a victim. That's why they whatever. Like, I knew we had some bad kids growing up, but you knew who the bad kids were, right? And at least I knew, like, don't hang around those kids. Those are bad kids. And if my mom and dad ever caught me, that was my behind anyway. But now it's just like we're gonna make every excuse why somebody's undisciplined, why somebody's like my daughter was like, oh, there was two kids in the back of the class like hanging over each other and making out. And I'm like, we would have never even thought to do something like that in school.
I don't know, bro.
Man, stop,
I
What are
bro.
don't
y'all
know, bro.
Stop,
I
bro.
mean,
You have
during
like I,
class, bro? During
yes,
class?
hey,
it
y'all ready?
happened, bro.
Are y'all
It
ready
happened.
for tea time with tea? Cause I got some stories for you. I'll
I
take you
bet you
way
do.
back.
It's
I
not late
bet you
enough in the
do.
night. It's not late enough in the night for that.
It's not after midnight, bro. This is still
Right.
PG
Hey
time.
man, we could,
For sure.
look for that
But no,
heroin back in the
man.
day.
Hey, calm down. Calm down. But I like y'all's input and I really appreciate Shamika. taking the time to join us. Thank you so much, and hopefully,
Appreciate
maybe
you,
we
Big
can have
Sean.
you on down the line for some other topics that come up.
Oh, she froze.
Think we got technical difficulties going on.
Oh, there
Oh,
she
there
goes.
we go.
She back.
Oh, I'm
Baby.
walking. I'm sorry. Can y'all hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, I'm walking to my house. I said I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for having me.
Indeed.
Absolutely.
Safari
We
Logan
will
saying
definitely.
Hey, little Logan.
She told me I want to say hi to Safari. Say hi to Safari.
Hey, we don't call our government names on here. That's the burner account.
All right, well, you fellas have a good one.
Have a good one. Thank you.
All right,
He said,
appreciate you.
"Don't be putting his business out there. His whole government name."
Hit that red X down there at the bottom.
All right, Safari 9.
Uh-oh.
Say
All righty. Well, good stuff, boys.